right now there are millions of people over the age of 60 doing absolutely everything right.
Oh, yeah,
You
totally.
know, they're hitting the gym, they're tracking their daily protein macros, choking down chicken breasts, and just forcing themselves to stay active.
Right, doing the work.
Exactly. And yet, despite all that effort, their muscle mass is shrinking and their recovery takes days instead of hours. Plus, their overall energy is just cratering.
It's incredibly frustrating.
It really is. And the mainstream fitness industry's response to you when this happens, it's always, you just need to eat more protein.
Right, which is just, it's so completely inadequate.
Yeah. So today, we're going to look at the cellular evidence showing why that advice isn't just, slightly off. It's actually biologically impossible to work without one specific, often invisible mineral.
It really is impossible.
So welcome to today's deep dive. We are pulling from a really fascinating set of source materials today, mostly an excerpt from Magnesium, the silent architect of muscle recovery after 60.
It's a great read.
It is, and our mission today is to decode those hidden cellular signals your body actually needs to rebuild muscle and, well, reclaim your energy.
Yeah, because it's a necessary conversation.
Yeah.
The current paradigm is just, it's incredibly frustrating for people going through it.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
basically treat the human body like this simple math equation, calories in, protein in, muscle out.
Right, like a machine.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the research on aging bodies, the baseline environment has completely shifted. You just can't apply a 20-year-old's math to a 60-year-old's biology.
Right. And by the end of this deep dive, for those of you listening who feel like you're, I don't know, fighting a losing battle with your own strength, you'll understand that your body isn't broken.
No, not at all.
It's simply waiting for the right conditions. So, okay, let's unpack this. Let's start by dismantling the giant elephant in the room, this absolute obsession with protein.
Oh, the protein myth, yes.
We constantly hear that losing muscle after 60 is just a failure to consume enough protein. And sure, protein is a building block, but focusing exclusively on it, it seems to ignore the actual mechanism of how a body degrades.
Yeah, well, the underlying assumption is that your digestive system and your cells at 65 process a chicken breast the exact same way they did at 25.
Which they don't.
Right, they don't. The reality is a profound systemic shift. First, you have to look at the hormonal landscape.
Okay.
Testosterone and growth hormone, which are the primary chemical messengers that circulate through your bloodstream telling your tissues to repair and expand, they naturally decline.
Wow.
Yeah, so the physical instruction manual for growth is literally fading away.
Wait, so the body isn't even receiving the order to build in the first place?
Exactly. But it goes much deeper than just the hormones. Inside your cells, you have mitochondria, right? The cellular power plants.
Right, biology class basics.
Exactly. And as we age, mitochondrial function slows down, they become less efficient at producing energy, and more importantly, they lose their resilience to physical stress.
Okay, so when you work out.
When you lift a weight, you are creating micro tears in the muscle. And repairing those tears requires massive amounts of cellular energy.
Okay, let me stop you there because I really want to challenge this a bit.
Sure, go ahead.
If I go to my local gym, I see guys in their 20s drinking whey protein isolate, and they're putting on like 5 pounds of muscle a month.
Oh, easily.
Right. The protein is clearly working for them. So why is it functionally useless for someone older?
Well, because that 20-year-old has an intact foundation. His hormones are raging, and his mitochondria are firing on all cylinders.
Okay.
He has the cellular energy required to take that whey protein, break it down into amino acids, and reassemble it into new muscle tissue.
Ah, I see.
The protein is just the raw material. Think of it like a construction site. Protein is the lumber.
Okay, I like that.
In your 20s, you have hundreds of workers. Those are your hormones and mitochondria ready to take that lumber and build a house.
And at 65?
The workers are on strike, and the foreman has gone home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can back up a dump truck and drop 1,000 pounds of premium lumber onto the site, meaning you can eat 100 grams of protein a day. But no house is getting built.
The lumber just sits there.
Exactly. The cells simply fail to utilize the protein because they lack the biological energy to process it. What's fascinating here is that it is a systemic energy processing issue, not a calorie deficit issue.
Okay, eating more protein when your mitochondria are slowing down is like pouring premium fuel into a car with a broken engine.
That's a perfect way to put it.
That reframes things completely. So what does this all mean for someone who is religiously tracking their daily protein macros in a spreadsheet, trying to fight off muscle loss?
They're skipping step one.
Right. They aren't necessarily wasting their money on protein, but they're dropping lumber on an empty lot, which makes me wonder, uh, what does the body do with all that unused potential? If the cellular engine is slowing down and energy is scarce, the body must have to make some pretty tough decisions about where to spend its limited resources.
Oh, it does.
The source material calls this shifting into preservation mode, right?
Yes. Your body is an incredibly intelligent survival machine. Its primary goal isn't to give you large biceps.
Sadly.
Right. Its goal is to keep your vital organs functioning. So when it senses a pileup of chronic stressors like low-level inflammation, ongoing psychological stress, poor sleep, or missing micronutrients,
It panics.
sort of, it receives a quiet but constant message that resources are scarce. Rebuilding muscle is a luxury at that point.
Because muscle tissue is metabolically expensive to maintain.
Exactly. In times of perceived stress or energy scarcity, the body treats muscle as completely expendable. It abandons growth mode and locks into preservation mode.
It sounds like the body's check engine light is coming on, but we're misinterpreting it as a game over screen.
Oh, that's exactly what happens.
Like the body is just saying, hey, we need to conserve energy right now. But that physical shift instantly turns into a psychological trap for the person experiencing it.
The mind-body feedback loop takes over. You go for a hike, you feel unprecedented fatigue, your recovery takes 4 days instead of 1, and your mind rationalizes it.
Right.
People in their 50s and 60s start accepting this weakness at the inevitable reality of aging. They think, well, my parents slowed down at this age. I guess it's my turn.
And so you stop taking the stairs, you stop picking up the heavy bags, you sit a little longer, and society absolutely reinforces this, right? We kind of expect older adults to be frail.
We really do. But we confuse biological adaptation with laziness.
Wow.
It isn't laziness. It is your biology dictating your behavior.
Huh.
The body is enforcing a new normal to save energy.
But how do we differentiate between an actual inevitable physical limitation of the human machine getting older and this tricky new normal mindset the stressed out body is pushing on us?
That's the big question.
Because clearly some decline is natural.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. But you differentiate it by understanding that muscle loss isn't a one-way street. It is a continuous dialogue between your brain, your gut, your hormones, and your cells.
Okay.
The decline you feel is just a response to the signals the body is currently receiving. The source material argues that if you change the signals, you change the response.
So we need to hack the communication. If the construction site is shut down because of a lack of cellular energy, we have to introduce something that gets the power flowing again.
Precisely.
And this is where the research points to a very specific, unassuming element, magnesium. The author calls it the silent architect.
And it really earns that title. I mean, magnesium is involved in over 300 different enzymatic reactions in the human body.
Over 300.
Yeah. It manages blood sugar, it regulates muscle contraction, it keeps nerve impulses firing smoothly. But its absolute most critical role, the hinge upon which all of human energy swings, is its relationship with ATP.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's dig into ATP, because this is where the just eat more protein advice completely falls apart.
Yes.
Every time you move, every time you blink, lift a grocery bag, or breathe, your cells use ATP, adenosine triphosphate, for energy. It is the fundamental currency of life.
Exactly.
But according to the research, ATP cannot actually do its job on its own.
No, it can't.
Yeah.
ATP is a highly unstable molecule. It contains 3 phosphate groups that are all negatively charged.
Okay.
And because they have the same charge, they violently repel each other.
Oh, like magnets.
Right. For the cell to actually use ATP as energy without it breaking apart, something has to stabilize those repelling forces. That stabilizer is magnesium.
Wow.
Magnesium binds to the ATP molecule, neutralizing the negative charge. The biologically active form of energy in your body is not actually ATP. It is MgATP, magnesium ATP.
So ATP is basically the VIP guest trying to get into the muscle club, but magnesium is the bouncer. Without the bouncer, nobody gets in and the party never starts.
I love that. Yes.
If magnesium isn't there, the ATP is functionally useless. It's like having a high-voltage power line right outside your house, but you don't have a transformer to step the power down. The electricity is there, but if you plug your TV directly into the power line, it explodes. Magnesium is the transformer.
That's it. Without adequate magnesium, the cellular environment just isn't set up for healing. Your cells cannot synthesize protein, they can't repair those micro tears from your workout, and you just get that permanent bone-deep, worn-out feeling.
Wait, so if this MgATP connection is literally how human energy works, why is the fitness industry just yelling more protein instead of talking about this?
Follow the commercial incentives.
Ah, of course.
Magnesium is a basic earth mineral. It is incredibly cheap to source, and you cannot patent it. You can't build a massive, exclusive lifestyle brand around a basic element and sell it for $80 a tub.
Right, no one's getting rich off magnesium.
It's exactly. The fitness industry is built on selling macronutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, because they are easy to market as the literal building blocks of a muscular physique. It's much easier to sell the bricks than it is to sell the invisible mortar holding them together.
Which means we have to completely shift our perspective. Muscle repair isn't just about eating food. It requires a specific cellular environment, and magnesium creates that environment.
It does.
And it goes beyond just turning the energy on, right?
Right.
The source material breaks down what it calls the recovery triad. Magnesium actually turns off the bodily stressors that keep us trapped in that preservation mode.
Yes, because recovery is a multi-system process. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the first pillar of that triad is inflammation. As we age, our immune system gets a bit sloppy, and low-level chronic inflammation tends to linger. It chips away at our strength and damages healthy tissue.
So it's actively hurting us.
Right. But magnesium acts as a powerful, natural anti-inflammatory at the cellular level. It physically controls the release of inflammatory chemicals, moderating the immune response after physical exertion.
So if you do like a light garden workout or a quick jog and you feel incredibly sore and stiff for 3 days, you aren't necessarily out of shape.
No, not necessarily.
You might just be lacking the chemical tools to put out the inflammatory fire.
The fire just smolders.
Yeah.
But the second pillar of the triad is arguably even more profound, and that's magnesium's effect on your nervous system.
Okay, this part made me reevaluate my entire view of fitness.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because our culture totally glorifies the work. You know, the sweat, the grinding, the no days off hashtags.
Oh, absolutely.
We treat recovery as an active, almost violent process, jumping into freezing ice baths, pummeling ourselves with massage guns. We totally ignore the parasympathetic state, like actual rest. Can simply introducing a mineral really flip the switch in our nervous system from fight or flight to rest and recover?
It biologically has to. When you work out, or when you are just dealing with traffic or a stressful email, your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight mode, is engaged.
Okay.
Your adrenal glands pump out cortisol, the primary stress hormone. And here's the biological reality. In a high cortisol state, your body actively breaks down muscle tissue to flood your bloodstream with quick energy.
Wait, really?
Yes, it will not build muscle while it thinks you are running from a tiger.
Right, because building a bigger chest doesn't help you survive a predator attack. The body prioritizes immediate fuel over long-term construction.
Exactly. Magnesium is the biochemical key that unlocks the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state. It does this by binding to and stimulating GABA receptors in the brain.
Just to clarify for anyone unfamiliar, GABA is essentially the brain's brake pedal.
That's the perfect way to visualize it. GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. When magnesium activates those receptors, GABA floods the nervous system, telling the brain to slow down, relax the muscles, and dramatically lower cortisol production.
And without it,
Without sufficient magnesium, that brake pedal is broken. Your nervous system remains revved up, stuck in high gear.
and if you are stuck in high gear, that brings us to the third part of the triad, deep sleep.
Right, because the only time the vast majority of actual muscle repair, cellular cleanup, and memory consolidation occurs is during deep, slow-wave sleep.
Makes sense.
If you lack magnesium, your GABA activity is stunted, your cortisol remains high, and your sleep architecture becomes incredibly shallow.
So you think you're resting, but you're not.
Exactly. You might be unconscious for 8 hours, but you aren't in deep sleep. Therefore, muscle repair becomes biologically impossible, no matter how hard you trained or how perfect your macro spreadsheet is.
Wow. So we have this master key. Magnesium turns on the ATP energy. It puts out the inflammation fire. It hits the GABA brake pedal to calm the nerves, and it facilitates deep sleep.
That's the triad.
But this brings up a glaring question. If it does all of this, why are so many people over 60 lacking it? Like, what about the listener right now who eats a perfectly balanced diet, buys organic vegetables, and cooks at home?
That brings us to the tragedy of our modern environment. Yes, magnesium absorption naturally drops as our digestive tract ages, but the primary culprit is external. Modern industrial farming practices have severely depleted the soil.
Right, the depletion dilemma. So what does this all mean?
Well, following the agricultural revolution, we shifted to NPK fertilizers, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those three elements make crops grow huge and fast, which is great for yields.
Sure, bigger vegetables.
But NPK fertilizers do not replace the trace minerals in the soil, including magnesium. Over decades of monocropping, the soil has been bled dry. The spinach or pumpkin seeds you eat today physically do not contain the same magnesium density they had 60 years ago.
So even if you are eating a pristine diet, you are operating at a deficit.
Yes.
Add heavily processed foods to the mix, which strip out whatever minerals were left during refinement, and we're just starving at a cellular level.
Exactly. And then factor in the stress of modern life. Chronic psychological stress actually causes your kidneys to excrete magnesium at a much higher rate.
You're kidding.
Nope. Your body literally burns through its reserves trying to keep you calm. Furthermore, many common medications prescribed to older adults, diuretics for blood pressure, acid reflux medications, they actively strip magnesium from the body or block its absorption in the gut.
It's a perfect storm. You could be doing everything your doctor tells you, eating the salads, taking the prescriptions, and still be critically missing this mineral.
Completely missing it.
It's like blaming your smartphone for being too old and slow when the reality is you're just using a broken charging cable. The machine is fine. It's just not receiving the power.
That is a great way to look at it. And the symptoms of that severed power cord are universal. Unexplained tiredness, random leg cramps at night, irritability, waking up at 3 a.m. and not being able to fall back asleep.
Yeah.
These are textbook signs of magnesium depletion, yet they are almost always brushed off by both patients and doctors as just getting old.
Right. For the listener right now who has those exact symptoms, how empowering is it to realize they might just be depleted rather than permanently declining?
This raises an important question about how we view our own health. It restores your personal agency.
Yeah.
If you believe your weakness is simply the unavoidable result of time, you are powerless. You surrender to the decline. But when you realize that your body isn't broken, that it's just missing a fundamental resource required for cellular communication, it changes your entire trajectory.
You're giving the body what it needs.
Yes. By bringing magnesium back into the equation, you are giving your cells the specific environment they require to heal. Your body begins to trust itself again. And from that biological trust, real strength returns.
It is a complete paradigm shift away from the simplistic brute force mindset of the fitness industry. We are moving away from just eat more protein and lift heavier toward a deeper understanding of what our cells are actually asking for.
Exactly. Now, protein and exercise remain vital. You still need the lumber, and you still need the stimulus of exercise to tell the body where to build.
Why, of course.
But magnesium provides the foundational environment, the workers, and the energy that makes your protein and your workouts effective. It's about respecting the complexity of your body's engineering.
Fix the factory first, then bring in the raw materials.
Exactly.
For you listening, that is the ultimate takeaway. Start listening to what your body is actually craving beneath the surface. It isn't craving more exhaustion or another diet trend.
No, it's not.
It's craving efficient energy use. It's craving the GABA-induced brake pedal. It's craving deep, uninterrupted sleep. Address those foundational microscopic needs, and age absolutely does not have to be a barrier. It can genuinely be a springboard for a new phase of capability.
Biology wants to heal. You just have to stop getting in its way and give it the tools it evolved to use.
So well said. As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about. We started by discussing how frustrating it is when you do everything right, but you still feel like you're falling apart. We've just discovered that modern farming and high-stress lifestyles are actively stripping away the exact invisible minerals our cells need to tell our muscles to grow.
Yeah.
So, if an entire generation's muscle loss is being accelerated by soil depletion and chronic stress, how many other things that we casually accept as the inevitable signs of aging are actually just hidden nutritional blind spots created by the modern world, just waiting to be solved? Keep questioning the standard advice and keep listening to your body.